Welcome back. Today we're going to take a look at the LetShuoer S12. Or maybe we should go by their proper name, LetShuoer. It's one of those two. Anyway, this is their S12. This is their 14.8 millimeter planar set. And before we begin, I do want to thank Michael Bruce. This is his personal set, and he generously loaned it out because I had an interest in hearing this one, and he made this available to a few of us to listen to. So many, many thanks to him, and I will give you a link to subscribe to his channel as well. So those of you who haven't had a chance to look this one up close, the shells are kind of a nice aluminum, probably aluminum alloy maybe, a bit generic looking, and that's kind of fine. They're quite comfortable, kind of nice to hold in your hand, and the cable actually is very, very nice, and it actually feels better than it probably looks on camera. So kudos to reusing this cable, which I think they've used on another model. I just don't remember which one. Those of you who wanted to quickly get an idea of where it compares to Timeless, it's lots of Timeless and then a little more treble is kind of what that looks like. So as I said, this one came from Michael Bruce, and as a loaner, I think this was sort of a perfect opportunity for me to audition a set before I made a purchasing decision, and I was very much thankful that I had a chance to hear it because I had actually attempted to buy it a couple times. I had actually entered their photo contest because I had plans on buying it, and so as soon as Michael Bruce had said, yeah, I'll send mine out, I sort of canceled all those plans and just waited patiently. So here it is, and very much thankful to have heard it before making that purchase decision. So I think lots of reviews kind of cover this one pretty well, and I will say that, you know, to generally sum up what's great about this planar set is it has this hallmark of a great single driver set. It sounds like a well-done hybrid. Full, detailed, impactful bass, but fast and precise and clean and super detailed mids and treble of a BA set. It's pretty much everything that you would look for in a hybrid set. You know, the whole advantages of a hybrid set is to have this full impactful bass from a dynamic driver and the speed and precision and transients of a BA. And planar sort of gives you all those wrapped up in one single driver. So yeah, I do think this one is going to review super well. Almost simply for that one reason is because it's one single driver, so you get all this coherence from beginning to end, but it has the dynamics of a full hybrid, full range driver. So done very, very well. And the transition from bass to mids is very well done for a mid bass level like that. And it's kind of surprising how much mid bass there is, how impactful the bass is, and how it really doesn't impact the mids all that much. Much better than the equivalent dynamic driver could really do at this price point. So I think lots of reviews kind of said similar things. It's a great set, great driver, great signature. Things I didn't really expect listening to the S12 for the first time. It definitely is a little bit brighter than I thought it was going to be, and is really a little bit too bright for me to have to be an everyday set. It's very similar to MEST for me. It has this lot of treble, and tracks that hit it hard are really fun for, you know, the first hour, and then it becomes quite fatiguing. It's just a lot of trouble to digest over long sessions, and MEST really has the same problem. Your initial take on it, the first hour of it, you're sort of blown away by how much data there really is and how much the resolution and detail. It's a bit overwhelming, and I think S12 is very similar in that respect, but you know, after you keep on listening to it for a while, it just becomes a bit too fatiguing. It's not a casual listen. It's not kind of a relaxing listen. It's pretty intense. So, and much like MEST, my favorite moments with the S12 are really the quieter moments that really show off the resolution, the detail, and the dynamics without it really hammering your ears all that much. Those bits on the S12 are actually very, very nice. So, as I said, this one is Michael Bruce's set, and he calls this one the Basshead set of the year for a reason. The bass is very special. This planar bass, you can EQ it to just absurd levels. Super, super high. And that is one of the reasons why I sort of wanted to walk through this quickly, because Michael wants to get his set back and, you know, raise the bass EQ by 20 dB and really enjoy it. And this is a set that you can really do that easily. Again, it's sort of like the treble. It's fun for about an hour, and then I was like, oh, that's kind of fatiguing. It's bass fatiguing, kind of similar to treble, but more of the boomy kind. So, I get it. I think it's cool. It's a very handy feature that you can throw that much bass into a set and enjoy that. Maybe not so much my typical listening habit, but I do understand after you try it. I sort of understand his point to it, and it really doesn't EQ like a DD. It's very DDs. If you ever try to EQ them, one dB in the wrong and right place, it can sort of blow out the bass. Some dynamic drivers don't handle EQ at all. It's just kind of weird to have that much control over the bass, and you can pretty much do as much as you want, and this one never really breaks apart. There's no distortion, and it doesn't really bleed into the mids. All that control and tightness and speed, it all kind of remains there no matter how much boost you put on it. It's kind of fascinating. So I think between the bass and the planar detail and resolution, it's worth having a planar as a reference set just for those two things. Maybe not my everyday carry, but it's nice to have that as sort of a reference set. And I do think this one, it reviews well because the parts are great. The resolution is great, the speed is great, lots of treble, the bass is great, but the whole, when you listen to it, just listening to tracks, it wasn't all that enjoyable for me. Part of it is the fatigue. Part of it is, I'm not that much of a detail chaser. I sort of like a casual listen, a more casual treble. And this one sort of has lots of capability and technicalities that aren't as interesting to me as for other people. So I 100% understand why people love this set, and certainly there's a lot to love about it, but for me personally, it's probably not one that I would purchase. I probably wait it out through the end of the year and see what other planers come along. And this one, it's almost like MEST for me. It's more like listening to a driver than to music. You sit there and go from track to track and listen to bits of songs and how the driver handles those parts that you've heard before in other drivers, and you listen to how it handles on this, and you sort of keep on going and going and going, and at some point I'm like, well, this isn't really all that fun anymore. I don't really enjoy the music. I just enjoy hearing how this track reproduces these bits, and that's fun for a little bit, but not so much a long-term set that I will do all that often. And the stage is kind of okay. Needs a bit of height, or needs a lot of height. It makes good use of space, and it doesn't feel small, but again, in a set that I would pick up as an everyday carry that I use often, it probably doesn't cut it on the stage area. So overall, I'll say, I'd keep this one, have a planar, but I wouldn't necessarily pick it up all that often to listen to. It really has what I'll call the MEST Dilemma, and that's to really make sure the parts that shine on this set align to things that you listen to in your sets and in your music. And like I said, lots of treble, the ability to EQ the bass to crazy levels. Those two things are huge parts of that make S12 a bit special, but aren't necessarily parts that I take advantage of all the time or listen to on a daily basis. Those are kind of sideshow things for me. So I think MEST was very much in that range too. Had this amazing detailed treble, but I'm not really a treble head, so you really do have to make sure that if you consider yourself, a mid-centric person, then pursuing sets that have a crazy amount of treble or can do bass head levels without any problems, that's probably not necessarily something that you're interested in or need to spend $100 and something on. So yeah, so do tweak that. And I think for me, this one kind of fell in that range of, it's a great set. I'll acknowledge it's a great set. Lots of great parts to it. Great driver, bass, treble, mids are actually quite good. Stage is kind of okay, but it doesn't quite fit a set that I would pick up and leave on my desk. So again, thank you guys for tuning in, and thank you to Michael Bruce for loaning this one to me. And I will send this back to you shortly. So again, thank you, and see you next time.